Hi, Loretto team. It's Millie here, back on slightly different recording because clearly the recording last night didn't record. Anyway, I'm just going to quickly run over everything that we discussed, so you've got this for reference, and if you need to remind yourself of what our thoughts were. So, starting with the flights, as you know, you're going to be flying for Air Ethiopia with from and back to Manchester Airport. And the school is going to organise transport to get you down to Manchester. So that is all going to be sorted. Air Ethiopia, we fly all the time with them. The reason being is that the transfer through Addis is really simple. It's probably only about 3 hours, but the airport is easy peasy to navigate. And most importantly, you arrive in Mombasa in daylight hours, which is really good. And then it is an hour's drive, about an hour and a half drive to down the coastline to Bahari High, which is going to be your base for the first part of your trip um, in in Vipingo. So that is your kind of flight in and out. Your itinerary, well, it's a kind of fabulous mix of volunteering and then going for the last 2 nights on safari into Tsavo National Park. So to begin with, the first you're going to arrive on a Monday, and then you've got Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, all based at the beach house. Here, your time is going to be a combination of marine tasks and community tasks, interwoven with a little bit of adventure. You're going to go on the dhow, which is going to sail down Kalifi Creek, which is magical. You're going to go be invited into the church service on your last day. You're going to go up to Vipingo Ridge, which is this crazy gated community. I mean, you've got to see it to believe it. It's got the kind of very fancy golf course up there. I mean, it's not what we're after, but I love going there because it does have some of Africa's wild, great beasts, including the giraffe, the antelope, a couple of kudu. And if you're lucky enough, you can be sitting by the pool having a drink and the giraffe come and have a drink. I mean, it's really special. So I highly recommend that you nip up there for a moment to hopefully see that in action. So, as I discussed last night, but just to recap about the projects, you are supporting Oceans Alive, which is a groundbreaking, pioneering NGO based at the coast of Kenya. They are really inspiring, so much so that King Charles even supports them. And now they have created this satellite community project which really works and really functions. And now they have been asked to recreate it in 30 different sites along the coast. So that is how successful it has been. Why and how has it become successful? Well, they realized that the problem was the coral was dying right in front of their eyes. And instead of just saying to the fishermen, right, you can't fish in here any longer, they didn't do that. So their approach was to get all the community on board, the village right outside who have historically depended on this part of the ocean for their fish catches and for their income, and now thoroughly involved in the restoration of the coral because Oceans of Life have helped with all the LEAP volunteers create projects which take their reliance off the water, giving them other income generating schemes, etc., which you will be part of. For example, building the Gico stove. I mean, a simple solution inside their houses. It reduces the smoke inhalation and the fire risk, but more importantly, it cleverly it works up a better heat. So now they can fry the fish that they collect. And in frying the fish, that fish now lasts 2 to 3 days, as opposed to being going off overnight. So simple solution. They also grow and have a demonstration garden and help set up permaculture, which is under the heading of permaculture, which are these wonderful vertical gardens made out of cement sacks using all the manure and rubbish that they collect. And from this, they now grow wonderful vegetables, which they can now sell at the market and expands their their food consumption and their health. So it's projects like that that you are going to be involved in. What does that look like on the ground? Well, doing the marine conservation, you're going to be bobbing in the water with your snorkel on, cleaning a lot of the coral tables, which have got the baby corals, which need cleaning before they get outplanted. You're going to be creating on the beach coral structures, which you will then plant into the sea. You're going to be building the Geco coves, building the vertical gardens, but at the same time, like I said, you're going to be football matches, um, going to the church, going on the Dow. So it's all intervened, all interwoven with other stuff. So that's what your itinerary looks like. Now, moving on to kind of the logistics. What does that look like? Top questions that you asked last night was money. What does the spending money look like? Well, with the trips that we ran last year, the rule of thumb was about 100 quid pocket money, which covers £30 for tips and the rest for curios and little souvenirs. There's a little market that comes by the house which sells bangles and bracelets and things. And going out to the beach bar and to Vapingo Ridge, maybe for a pizza. So that kind of is the rule of thumb. If it goes up or down, I will let you know closer to the time because we've got trips going before that, so we can collect, updated data as we go along. I would get £100 converted into Kenyan shillings. Okay, it's just so easy. But at the same time, take out a bank card so you can get more cash out at the ATM if required. And it's just good from a kind of safety point of view. There is a wonderful app that we're trialing at the moment, which means that you don't need to get the shillings out. But I will know more about that closer to the time. Inoculations, the ones we recommend as a rule of thumb is typhoid, Hep A, a tetanus boost, and of course malaria tablets, which you only need for the ocean part of your journey. Usually people take the pill called Malarone, and you start it 3 or 4 days before and 3 or 4 days afterwards. A lot of people take that very successfully. Some people don't feel great on it. So you've just got to take see how you fare. You will know after 2 or 3 days if it's good or not. And if it's not, and occasionally people get sickness and diarrhea, then it might be something that, we recommend that you come off. But it's not a high malaria zone. If you did show signs of malaria, there's a Vapingo clinic, which is just down the road, which could do malaria tests there and then. It is so efficient to treat when you're out in Kenya. So, but clearly you need to go and see your own GP to get their advice. But rule of thumb, it is not a yellow fever area. So that is not required. While we're on the health and safety, health-wise, the biggest kind of risks that people have out there is dehydration because you are working in the heat of the day. So I highly recommend that you take pills. Those rehydration pills that you can pop in your water, the electrolytes, which make you feel so much better. Whenever I go on a trip like to Kenya, I've recently been on, I take one in the morning and one in the evening just to make sure that I don't get dehydrated because I don't like the feeling. And the feeling is headaches. You can feel a bit fluey, a bit shaky, and get diarrhea. So it's best avoided. The other usual things that people get, they can get a little bit of diarrhea, but also cuts. They need to be kept really clean because you're in and out of the water and you're living in the tropics and things can get infected pretty quickly. So I highly recommend everybody takes just a little first aid bag, things like Compeed, Savlon, rehydration tablets, but any, proper medication, then you've got to talk to your teachers and they can look after it for you, or just everybody needs to know what it is. If there's fridges required for medication, that's easy. They are easily accessible in the main kitchen. What does your accommodation look like? Well, you're going to be staying at Bahari High, which, as I described last night, I'm saying it's a kind of 2, 3 star hostel. That's what I'm going for. Okay, the windows might be a little bit rusty. It's a little kind of, you know, it's a little bit kind of rusty around the edges, but it is comfy and it has a really good vibe. We all love it there. You're going to be 2 to 3 to a room, and with the group size that you are, you're probably all going to get a front-facing little hut, which is right, overlooking, you're high up, overlooking the ocean. So it's pretty special. It's got a pool there. It's got loads of like hangout areas where you have all your food, and it's got a big central area where you have all your lectures, learning about the fish, learning about the project. And that's where Godfrey and his team knock up lovely food. The food, you've got 3 meals a day, which will be provided, um, and easily sort out, they easily can cope with vegetarians, gluten-free, you name it, they can do it. Godfrey is a whiz in the kitchen. But having said that, I do, when you're out there, you might want to go out for 2 meals, one to Rapingo Ridge and one to the beach bar because they're fun. And I just know you will. We all wanted to do it, and so I recommend it. Um, I've got a lovely little list here I'm working through. Your visa, and the flying doctor's insurance. Okay, starting with the visa. I will be sending you all the information that you need at the end of May for you to do this in June. You can't do it any earlier because then it will lose its validity. It is a bit of a head fry, a scratch. You've got to you've got to give it time. You can't rush it. Got to be patient, but we'll send you some top tips on how to crack the visa. The flying doctors as well. It costs $10 for this, and I make sure everybody gets it because just in case you need to be flown from the coast, if you were injured from the safari, the little airplanes can whiz down. They've got landing sites all over Africa to pick you up and take you to the hospital that is required. Now, as I described last night, let's just play the example with a leg. Okay, say you scratch your leg, cut your leg, need a few stitches. You're going to go to Rapingo Ridge, which is 10 minutes away from the base. Okay, when you're at the coast, they are awesome, 24/7. Can deal with that, no problem. Deal with, if you've got tested malaria, sore throats. I had my ears sorted when I was there. I mean, it's a brilliant place. Okay, back to the leg. Say your leg was now absolutely mushed, broken. They would stabilize you and we would ambulance you down to Mombasa to the hospital there where you would get fixed. If they couldn't fix it, and if we thought actually this is more than a break, we would then call air ambulance. They would land at Vapingo Ridge. They've got an airstrip there, and we'd get you sent to Nairobi with one of the guides. If they can't sort it, then you would be airlifted from Nairobi down to Cape Town. So that is the kind of order of our risk assessments. When you're on safari, again, we the safari guides there, Chris and Janine, they are wilderness first aid and they have all the first aid kit on them to stabilize. And again, it's very quick. It's about an hour's drive to get you to Voi from both of the safari camps, which has a hospital. Again, if you needed to be air ambulanced, both at the safari camps, there are airstrips to take you direct to Mombasa or to Nairobi. So we've thought all those various scenarios through. Snake bites, 25 years, we've never had a snake bite. They're more scared than you, and you make so much noise that they literally flee. Just in case, though, there is a snake bite clinic, which is about 20 minutes away from the camp, and Chris has snake bite venom on him in the car. So that's all ticked, and we're comfortable with that. Kit list, I'm going to send you the kit list in the email, but you don't need anything in particular, but apart from a snorkel and mask, a UV vest, which covers your bottom, and some good reef shoes, which have got a sturdy base. Okay, you can't go in the water without those three, without that kit. So it is essential that you take it. Um, Try with your snorkel and mask to practice, that it's comfortable and it works before you get there. Yep, just practice in the bath. That's what a lot of people do. A good brand for a snorkel and mask you get on Amazon is Cressi, Cressi. That's the brand that I always use. Clothes and donations. So, yes, we discussed this last night. Great to take some odds and sods, stickers, transfers, the little tattoos, pens, coloring tips, all that type of stuff. But for the kids to help with interaction when you go into the school on one particular morning. When it comes to donations, I'm going to let you know on that because we've got lots of other people asking, and we're going to try and get some order and some age groups and, girls versus boys and footballs versus you. Leave it with me. Leave it with me. We will get back to you on what that could look like. Staying in touch. When you arrive, I will be sending out an email to you parents saying that they've arrived and all is good. Um, the Wi-Fi in the camp and on the safari is good. It's absolutely fine to do WhatsApp. It's just not good enough to start downloading, movies. Not that you've got time or, you won't want to be watching movies, but you just getting the gist of what is good and how much it works. But you're going to be so busy. From a parent point of view, I would say no news is good news. It'd be great to set up a photo circle before you go, which we will do on everyone's behalf. So everybody can load up their photos onto one place and parents can look into that. So that works really, really well. That was all on my list. I'm just looking. That was all on my list for now. So over and out from me, and we will speak again closer to the time. Okay, many thanks. Bye.